Ready to elevate your credit understanding and score? With insider tips and a plan, you can take action to improving your score, which can save thousands in unnecessary finance charges. Let's tackle today's topic with your coach, Credit Christy.
Hi friends, it's Christy, your credit coach. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. I'm going to apologize for my voice because I've been fighting this nasty cold for about 2 weeks, but I really want to get some information out to you. And quite honestly, I've missed talking with you. So I hope you're doing well. And I wanted to share a couple of things in case you are struggling with where you're at with your credit card right now. I want to share a couple of tips with you on what you can negotiate on your credit card. So if you have a secured credit card, this may not work. And if you have a brand new relationship or less than a year with your current credit card company, you may want to wait until you've got at least a year, probably closer to 2 years. But I want to share with you a couple of things on what you can negotiate or change that a lot of people may not even be aware of. If you've had your credit card for at least a year, I want you to know that you can request a credit line increase. Now, be careful with this because if you are asking for a credit line increase, they are going to pull your credit. So if you're working towards something major like buying a car or buying a home, talk to your loan officer or put this off until a little bit later because you don't necessarily want a hard credit inquiry on your credit if you're getting ready to do something as big as buying a home and getting a mortgage loan. But if buying a home and a mortgage is at least 6 months to a year down the road, I would encourage you to go ahead and ask for a credit increase. So why would you want a credit line increase? It will help with that debt utilization ratio, which is a percentage of how much you're borrowing against how much your limit is. So the higher the limit and the more spread between your balance or the amount owed to the credit card company and the amount allotted to you, the larger the spread that is, the better off it is. If you've listened to any prior episodes, you know the goal is to be at 30% or less on your balance in relationship to your limit. Another thing that you can request to change is your due date. I know for some people, if your due date is right at the beginning of the month, that's typically when your housing payment is due. So you can always ask to have it bumped a little bit later into the month where a different pay cycle can take care of paying off that balance owed to them. And did you know that you can negotiate down the APR of your credit card? So let's say you started with a credit card and it was 24.99 and you've been in it for quite some time. When you've established a relationship and you've proven to that credit card company that you have the ability to borrow that money and pay it back on time, and that you've done that for a substantial amount of time, at least a year, you can always call them and ask if your APR can go down. Because consider this, what if a year or 2 years ago when you'd started that credit card, you had a very different credit score than what you have now? When you've got that credit card reporting on your credit profile and it's showing on-time payments and a little debt utilization and your credit scores have improved, you are less of a risk to them. You've also proven that you pay it down or pay it off, or at least make your monthly payments on time every single month. With that kind of payment history, you have the right to request a lower APR. Sometimes when you're looking at a credit card to potentially take on, they'll have a range on that APR, and that range is typically based on your credit score and credit profile. So if your credit score is better now than at the time that you had started that credit card relationship, ask them if they can improve or lower that APR. Now, some APRs are a fixed cost because they have certain benefits given to you. Maybe it has travel miles or cash back or something like that. So when you're speaking with that customer service agent and they say, no, that truly is the lowest we can go with this credit card, if you're not taking advantage of those travel miles or some of the things that they call benefits, maybe you can ask them if they have a different credit card inside of their family with a lower APR. And if they do, ask them if they can move your credit history with this credit card over to that credit card. Sometimes it's almost like them reissuing you a new credit card number if your credit card is expired or if it was compromised. So that credit history is still there, but you'll have a new credit card and hopefully a new and improved lower APR. And something I just want to make sure that you know, if you don't use your credit cards, they may get closed by the credit card company for inactivity. I know a lot of store credit cards will do that. If you don't use it for about 2 years, they'll close it for inactivity, which means that open line of credit that they had available to you is no longer part of your debt utilization calculation. And once it's closed, it's not helping your overall credit score any longer. And I'm also going to suggest never close a credit card intentionally. Now, the only time I've ever seen this work on helping to improve a credit score was when somebody had late payments on that credit card. They paid it down to zero and then closed it off. But they did have another long-standing credit card history with a different credit card. But if you have on-time payments and it's just a credit card that has a higher APR and you're just not really intending on using it or keeping a balance or anything along those lines, don't close it. Just put it aside, lock it up in a safe, put it in your sock drawer or whatever. Don't close it because you do want want to use that credit availability as part of your debt utilization. And so I'm going to ask you a question. It's not really meant to be a trick question, but for some of you, it might feel that way. How do you pay 0% APR? So not when you're doing a balance transfer or something like that, where they say in writing, balance transfer 0% for the next 12 months. How do you pay 0% APR on your current credit cards? The answer? Pay that balance off in full well before your due date. There's typically a 25-day grace period, which is from the time your last bill was due until before they add that interest and your new credit card statement is available for you. If you pay your balance off completely during that grace period and you have a zero balance come time of that statement, when your grace period ends, you will pay 0% interest. So I want to encourage you, don't wait until your bill comes due, because now you're paying unnecessary interest. And if you're not able to pay it off in full, pay it down as low as you can. So that way the interest that is added to that balance at the end of your bill cycle, at the end of that grace period, it's on that lower amount, which means you'll pay lower in interest charges. But if you're paying it during that cycle, that may not apply towards your minimum payment when it does come due. So keep an eye on that. If your minimum payment is $25 or $35, make sure you leave that amount in your checking account to pay that when it comes due. If your credit card company does not apply that balance pay down towards your minimum payment due. I share this with you because the average American that carries a credit card balance month after month, you guys, it's over $9,000 in credit card debt. And if you're paying 20-something% in interest, the majority of your minimum monthly payment just goes to paying interest. You will carry that credit card debt for years and years and years, even if you don't add any new debt to it, if you're just paying that minimum payment, because so little of it goes to paying down that principal balance. So I want to encourage you to get on it, get focused. And as we're going into the holiday season, remember, your kids, your family, your friends, they don't love you more because you shower them with a lot of gifts. If you don't have the cash money set aside to buy holiday gifts this year, consider creating special moments. Time together, real quality, treasured time. My mom recently shared with me, she came across a book, a photo album that I made for her. I think I was 12 or 13 years old. I didn't have money to buy her a gift. I wanted my mom to feel my love. And so I put together this photo album and I bought these little stickers at the dollar store. All of these years, I won't tell you my age, but I think I was about 13 years old. All of these years later, she kept it. And when she found it in one of her drawers and went back to looking at these pictures, she said that brought her more joy than most gifts that she's ever received. So a gift from the heart can go a lot further than a gift from the store. If you have big goals to get out of credit card debt, keep that as your main focus when you are shopping for your holiday gifts this year. Hey, thanks so much for listening, even with my raspy voice. I wish you a very happy holiday season. And my next episode will be suggestions on how to keep your credit card low during this time of travel and gift giving. So I hope you'll join me then. And if we haven't connected, please connect with me. I'm on pretty much every social media at Credit Christy. I'd love to connect with you. If you have questions, ideas on a podcast episode, or you just want to say hello, send me an email at questions@creditchristy.com. I promise you, I'll respond. And until next time, my friends, stay well.
Subscribe now and share with a friend to stay in the loop for new credit content and insider tips to maximize your credit knowledge. And follow Credit Christy on Instagram.